God damn, we gotta shorten that.
We really yo, don't she's sucking down the noodles like mad long. I'm like, yo, I hope that shit ain't hot. My mouth. Goddamn. So what's up, everybody? You are tuned into the Black Ramen Podcast. I am Chatty Patty, aka Madam Straw Hat, aka This My Pirate Ship, aka I am the Celestial Dragon, and I have with me.
Hello. This is Bree, Sleepy Bree, tea sipping Bree. Although it is too freaking hot to that, and I refuse to go iced tea, so I'm suffering Bree today.
What's up, guys? This is Sexual Chocolate. Yeah, and we have a guest with us. Bree, you want to go ahead and introduce him, or you got it?
I will. So we on Black Ramen Podcast are all about infecting other people with our own nerdiness. We are trying to grow and expand the community. Therefore, every person in my family, at some point, I will drag them in. I will show them something and say, hey, look at this. And I am proud to say, 40 and many years ago, I showed this cousin of mine Attack on Titan, and he has fallen into the rabbit hole of nerd anime and nerddom culture since. So please give a little round of applause to my little baby cousin Chris, who is joining us for this podcast.
Wow. Thank you very much for having me on. It's amazing. I'm very excited. I don't have a nickname yet. I'm working on that.
Well, don't think that. We just started.
Careful, you can end up with Sexual Chocolate.
Nah. He'll just stay the baby of the group for now.
All right.
But anyway, we've got a lot to get to this episode. If you're looking at the timestamp on Spotify or YouTube, you're probably seeing it's hella long. I haven't even recorded yet, and I know this is going to take us a while to get through.
How you gonna make
because
that
guys, we've been stuck in anime realm for a while, and you're probably expecting some like anime content from us this time, but no, not this time. This time, we're going back to comics. But first, Patty and Derby had a little excursion this past weekend. It's like the 13th, 14th of May, and in New York, they had their usual Patches and Pins Expo. So guys, how was that?
Derbs, you want to go first?
All right, so first off, I need them to fix their VIP situation. All right, look, if you're gonna have a VIP thing, I'm never gonna go up to the front of the line and say I'm VIP to get in. I'm not gonna do it.
Let's break down the VIP situation. So if you go into Eventbrite and you purchase tickets to Patches and Pins, there's an option. There's a $4 option, and then there's a VIP option, which is $40. That guarantees you to go in early. Not to mention you get a goodie bag, right? Mm-hmm. What they used to do a couple of years ago, they would go out to the lines and ask people, hey, did you have the VIP pass? You would say, hey, it's on my phone, I got it, and they'll pull you in. For the past, I think 2 years, they haven't done none of that. I bought a VIP ticket like a year ago. I think it was a year ago. Mm-hmm. It was a year ago, and I just sat in line like everybody else, like for government cheese and shit. When I showed them I bought the VIP ticket, all I got was a t-shirt, a Patches and Pin t-shirt, and a pin.
Was at least nice, because that's a $40 t-shirt.
No. Yeah. It's just a regular t-shirt. It's a regular.
The main thing you're paying for is to get in early. The thing is, unless you're some super celebrity or a Karen, it's a weird thing to do to go to the front of the line and say you're important enough to cut everyone who's been standing online for like an hour. So unless you come get me to tell me, hey, or set a separate line, that's fine too. I'll happily stand on a weird separate line and do that, but I'm not cutting everyone. It's never going to happen.
Wait, pause, but I think that perspective is a very introvert nerd perspective. So when you say that, you can say it's not normal for us introverted nerd folks to go. We don't have the guts. We cannot. But it's in general fairly normal. Like, I think normal people can just do that. It's like, oh yeah, here's a VIP ticket. Can I come in? Yeah, come on in, bro. If you look at what are they called? Like amusement parks, people happily jump to the line with their like rich people passes. It's just us. We are timid folk. We are quiet. You need to specifically come up and talk to us in a nice, gentle voice. Hi, sir. Hi. It's okay. It's okay. Shh. Are you a VP? Okay. Come on this way.
Not only that, Bree.
Be nice.
If I'm by myself, right, and I come and I'm like, yo, sir, I pay $40. What's up? What's good? And you telling me, no, bitch, get back in the line. I just left my spot. I'm by myself. I can't sit there and tell whoever I was in front of or behind, can I get back in? I don't want to do that because then I'm gonna have to fight. I don't want to be embarrassed and you telling me no. Get your ass back in line. What you mean no? I paid $40. See, I don't want to do none of that.
Yeah.
My thing is, I gave you 40. You should have somebody. It's not that hard. You should have somebody come out or have the security scream, yo, whoever got a VIP, come up front with your ticket. And just let them come up front and let them go in. So
it's not that tough.
It's not. But shout out to Johnny though, because he got me in. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny got me in. But that's there, and he was like, "Hey, put this on." He gave me one of those. I was like, "Yeah, that's my whole." I elbowed everybody. Get the fuck out the way. I'm a vendor. Get out of it. I had like a superhero vendor badge because nobody could touch me.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. Patty was still late. Like,
I was late. I ain't waiting on line, so no matter. But to say the least, like patches, it was smaller. The event was smaller, and then I felt like it was lackluster. Like I even had problems talking to Derby. Like I was like, "Yo, Derby, what you thought?" Like I wanted him to say something first because I didn't want to be like, "Yo, it wasn't all that this year." So I was like, "Derby, how you felt?" Derby wasted no time. Derby was like, "It's a little lackluster."
Look. Part of it is simply we are anime fans, and if you ain't got no anime fans, what are we doing? There were like 2, maybe 3 tables that had anime pins.
No Spy Family pins. I thought I was gonna get an Anya.
Yo, right? Like it was
no Dance Dancer. Nobody was ready.
No Vivi, no Odd Taxi, no nothing.
Nothing.
No Boji. Like, what are we doing here?
Not to mention the pins actually looked a little smaller than some of the vendors that I have my favorite.
I mean, that's just inflation, so I
was talking to Bree about that earlier, and I was like, "Yo, you think maybe the reason we're not getting new pins because some of them came out with the pins that they had on their website or years ago, right? So I'm ready for the new ones, you know." But I was talking to Bree, and I was like, "Bree, I think it might be the fact that the economy is like, you know, the whole inflation thing. The pins are coming out smaller." Nobody's coming out with new pins.
Like materials are costing more. For vendors to actually show up in New York is going to be much more expensive if they're out of city. Because if you're out of town right now, you're not paying. I don't know how much it is there, but over here it's like $6 a gallon. And I wouldn't be driving in $6 a gallon because does that mean can you make up your cost when supplies are more expensive? Production is more expensive, shipping is more expensive, arriving is more expensive, yet you can't necessarily jack up your prices because that'll piss people off. These creators, they're trying to do this not just for the love of it, partially for the love of it, but also to put food on the table. And it's really hard to put food on the table and afford these kind of smaller gatherings. I put the world's kind of shit right now.
I put a lot of food in people's tables today. I'm not going I made sure I bought 2 of everything. Like I was like, okay, I need to leave because you get a discount. Well, I believe you can't just leave with 1 pin.
I know. I put food on one person's table because I kept bringing people to her table.
Oh,
she had the 2 Akira pins, so I just kept dragging people that I knew.
She had the She even was like, "Oh, I should pay you commission." Like she literally
asked for a sticker.
Wait, are y'all not going to drop her tags?
I will later.
Hold on, one moment. I'm about to talk. No, she deserve it. Yo, Mike. Hold on real quick. Let me get it.
I wouldn't even pay the $40 at that point if it's that bad.
Yeah, actually, honestly, if you pay $40,
just pay the regular ticket and then just walk in and then do your thing if it's not gonna.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'll walk to the front of the line. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'll walk to the front of the line.
That's you.
If I paid $40 and I had to walk and stand around, I'm jumping to the front of the line. I don't care.
If I was with people, I would definitely have them hold my spot and go to the front of the line. Were you entirely solo in line?
By the time I was with somebody, it was already like 12:30. So there was really
so
no
you missed
it. Right? Dokino?
Yeah, that's
you didn't even say it. Oh, you did?
Dokino. Yeah.
Dokino. Okay.
Nowhere near close enough to the camera.
I'm not sure the camera is not good. Is it?
It's fine.
I love that.
Later.
That I do wish I had one of. That's actually.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know what? One thing I have an issue with the pin makers. This pin don't really look as cool when you take it out. Like this whole packaging. I just want to put it like this.
With the packaging.
It's so fire. And then I like the back. She says, "You have great taste. Thank you." It's fire. It's fire. She gave Derby
Yeah,
a
that's
sticker. It was like, "Thank you."
Yeah, so
Yo.
shout out to her.
Yeah, she was probably one of the
Doing
very
great work.
few that had anime pins.
It was her and literally like a table like next to her. It was like those were like the two major ones. That's where I got Breeze pins for the future.
Oh yeah, there were some pretty nice pins. There were some pretty nice pins. There
All
were
right.
some pretty nice pins.
Yeah.
I look
So
forward
that's
to my
good.
inevitable
The
gift.
event was small, and I hope it was smaller than before. The venue was smaller. It was super crowded. I just wanted more space. And shout out to all the vendors because they were super nice. They were able to talk to us. After this, we'll a couple of days later, depending on how I edit, I would love to have a video and share it for all you guys who are listening. It'll be on the YouTube and Spotify of all the stuff that we bought that caused my card to act up because I couldn't transfer shit. Chase froze my shit. Chase was like, "What up, bitch? We don't even know
it's a week
now."
Yeah, even though it's a week year, we still lost quite a bit of money.
What? Didn't we? Oh my god. Chase was like, "Is this you?" I'm like, yes. I went to 5 different tables in 15 minutes. It's me. I paid this people. Yo, I don't know what happened. This shit just froze. I told Mike, send me some money. Like, yo, did you get it? I'm like, nah, it's froze. Like, I can't do. Yo, send Derby the money. Just send Derby the money. Give Derby the money. He'll buy it for me. That's it. It was that. Other than that, it was a cool experience. I had fun.
Just get more anime pins. I don't know if inflation or economy or whatever the fuck is stopping you, but stop. I don't care. Figure it out and make more shit.
Derbs, I want if you're not a fan of anime pins, don't make them. If you're not a fan of anime,
no, obviously, but
I need.
I'm
more,
talking to the anime fans.
Yeah, the anime pin vendors. We were waiting for you this year. If you didn't pull up next year, we definitely was looking for you. Definitely.
Or at least tell me where you gonna be so I can pull up there.
I didn't see no Jujutsu Kaisen. I didn't see no Tokyo Revengers. I didn't even see Attack on Titan.
I know.
That's the shit I was waiting for.
At the lack of
you know what would have been a beautiful pin? I need a beautiful pin of all the Titans just walking. What they call it? The
rumbling?
The rumbling. All the time. That would have been fire.
Yeah.
Fire. You crazy? I would have dropped a couple pins on that. Nobody had none of that. It's crazy.
Paid $40 too.
No, I paid 40. No one else made that.
I would have paid $40 for that. I would have.
For that pin itself, enough,
yes. Yeah. If the pin was big enough,
easy.
Yeah. Hands down. So I already we already giving you blessings, just free ideas. Just make it happen. And then gold trim, please. Thank you.
Put pen to paper and send it to whoever you gotta send to put it on the fucking metal, enamel, whatever the fuck material that is. I don't know, but make it.
Okay, and now that we have given our demands to all pin makers, I think that just about wraps up patches and pins. So overall, a little disappointing last year. I really hope they pump it back up next year because I've been to one so far like 2 or 3 years ago because it never lines up with my schedule. Don't worry about the details. And it was great. It's one thing seeing them online, but it's another thing seeing them in front of you, and you cannot resist just dropping a little money. You can say, "Oh, I'll only pay in cash and I'll just bring this amount." You'll spend all your cash and then you'll start borrowing your friends' cards. And then, "Oh, you got Venmo?" Those pin makers got Venmo now. You're done. You're done. You'll download it on the spot if you don't already have it.
I still remember that Anime NYC. There was a pin maker who took like Pokemon Go trades.
Gotta build up your cash. I respect
anything and everything.
Yeah.
But okay, so that was our little rant about the pins. As I mentioned, this episode we are going to be getting into comics, but not just comics, specifically the cinematic universes of comics. Y'all know where I'm going with this. I'm sure we'll have some quippy title by the time this episode comes out. But this past week,
she definitely did
actually,
send it.
Yeah, the Isekai of Marvel. This is what we talk about. Multiverse. Isekai of Marvel.
That's what it is. So yeah, Multiverse of Madness came out, the newest Doctor Strange movie, and this is probably going to become a heated discussion because I think we all have opinions. So we are going to break it down one person at a time and then joint coming together. Would anyone like to volunteer to go first to discuss the overall impression after walking out of it?
I'll go
but before I preface this, we all walked into it. Sorry. I know, my bad. We all walked into it at different levels of awareness. So I, for my part, I am not 100% caught up on MCU anymore. I did not finish WandaVision. I did not finish Loki. I did not finish What If.
And you wonder why you don't understand it. You know, even.
Well, I guess you're going first, Brig. Brig, go ahead.
No. I'm just.
No, you have to.
No,
Chris
no,
called
you
you
have
out.
to now.
You got to. You got to.
Okay, fine. You know, I don't have a problem with it. No, you called me out. Fine. So, guys, this was not a good movie. I'm saying this on 2 different levels. On one level, if you're just like walking in without having watched anything before it, it's a shitty movie. If you're watching this as a standalone movie, it's a shitty movie. Why the dialogue was often very corny. Most of like the witty dialogue you expect from Marvel was just them making references to other Marvel shows that come out. The plot was a little forced. I was very, very annoyed at the characterization. I'm gonna say it. America Chavez was a dumbass. I'm sorry. How are you gonna let someone stand there who killed you, attempted to kill you, not 3 minutes before? This isn't a spoiler. By the way, if you want spoilers, watch this episode later. We're going full spoils. So, in the first 10 minutes of the movie, this guy says, you know what? I'm not really sure if the universe will be safe with you here, so I'm just gonna kill you. Then she meets an alternate universe version of him, and she's like, you know what? Yeah, we can become buddies. I have opinions on that. I thought America Chavez was dumb. I despise the stupid nonsense romance plotline they tried to push between him and Christine. Because even a romance that doesn't happen, like a tragic romance is still a romance, doesn't matter. It was dumb as hell. It was dumb in the first movie and it was dumb in this movie. It was a problem. Every time Benedict Cumbersnatch appears on screen, I get so annoyed now.
It's Steven. It's Steven.
We're going by the character name.
Benedictine Cumberbund, whatever. Doesn't matter. Benadryl comes a lot. Anyway, regardless.
Wow.
He was annoying. America Chavez, sweet actress. I think she did all right for her role. But that whole, like, dynamic between them, it was okay. It wasted so much time on a romance that didn't happen and didn't need to happen or even be alluded to. And the one redeeming feature was Wanda. Wanda was amazing. I thought she did great. But the thing is, I walked into this and I was like, whoa. She's evil now?
You didn't watch the show,
I who am on this podcast, who talks this stuff all the time, tries to stay relatively up to date, at least moderately aware, walks in, and like half the characters I appeared on screen, I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to know you or not, and I don't care about you regardless. And I think that was a problem. So overall, for enjoyment, I would rate the movie as like a 6. For quality, like a 4 or a 5. I don't know. I wouldn't rank it very highly. I would not see it again. And I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're just trying to stay up. You will watch this movie just for the sake of staying up to date on MCU. That's it. That's the only reason to watch it.
Chris, you got it because Chris is making. He's like,
yeah, because it's okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
Like it's, I don't understand. It's I get if you're a common person and you haven't watched any of the movies. I don't know why you would walk into Doctor Strange 2. Anyways, now I know this is a point we're going to bring up later, but I am a person who doesn't believe it's fair that you have to watch the show to keep up what's going currently with the movies.
Thank you.
I'll give you that. That's a fair point. But in terms of that, they're called character arcs. Christine has always been his like main driving point. If you watched What If, but I know you didn't watch the show, which is fine. But she's kind of always been the main driving point. So having her be in the movie and him kind of struggling to see different versions of her going through whatever she's going through, or maybe she's with someone else, it's tough for him because that's something he could have had that he doesn't. America Chavez, I think the actress did a great job with what she was given. It's just that I know not a lot of people know of her character because her comic came out recently, and I'm not sure what kind of buzz that comic had. Not too much at all. Yeah, I mean, she's an interesting, like the character itself is interesting. There's only one of her, and she has the ability to multiverse jump. That's interesting in and of itself, but I wasn't able to kind of get more of that backstory with her that I wanted so badly. I know that she, you know, her moms were kind of split, and she's been trying to find them, but she can't control her power, so she's been jumping multiverse to multiverse trying to find them. At least that's one of the things she's trying to do. I just wish we kind of had more of an understanding of her as a character, because of course the comics changes with the live action movies,
Right?
so that's something you kind of have to deal with as well. For me personally, I had fun in this movie. I had a good time, but again,
Really?
I have been someone who's kept up with the movies. Other than Morbius, I skipped that. But other than that,
Good job.
I personally kind of kept up, and I was entertained by it. Hearing the word multiverse, though, kind of that didn't kind of feel like that, because you only saw maybe only a couple multiverses, and then there was a specific scene where they jumped through like 6 of them, which was an amazing scene, but we didn't get a lot of exploring a lot of the multiverse, which is what I wish we had. But I was entertained by the movie. I do plan on seeing it again. I know other people aren't, but I will be.
I am
Yeah.
other people.
I know. I know.
You made yourself clear on that.
But I did have fun. I did have fun in this movie.
Okay, Derby.
Yeah, so for me, I also enjoyed the movie. Sorry, Bray. It's quite good. I am caught up with quite a bit of Marvel Cinematic Universe, quite a bit of the shows. I didn't watch all of What If, but I have finished WandaVision. I finished Loki. Just finished Moon Knight. So finished Eternals. So even the ending credit scene kind of made some sense to me. So yeah, I liked it. As far as Christine goes, I think just that flashback where they were in that memory thing would have been enough. As far as Christine's whole plot point, I didn't really need the extra multiverse Christine to be there. Like, she wasn't all that important. He could have just remembered to watch in a flashback and then tried that out.
He didn't do anything.
Bree, I'm agreeing with you. Please stop making me.
Sorry. I'm emphasizing. I'm very frustrated. I'll be silent.
I'm agreeing with you as far as Christine goes.
That's
I'm fine with her not having been in the movie, really. As far as America Chavez, that I think she did as well as she could have done. If they had maybe like 30 more minutes, they could have made her. I know, Brie, like we had talked about it, like you wanted her to run away more. If 30 more minutes, I think they could have written that in, but with the amount of time they had, she only really had one time to run away, and then they were like, all right, that's enough. We don't really need to show her trying to get away every single time, especially when she knows she really has nowhere to run. This is the person who can help her the most. She just has to be careful when eventually he will turn on her. And yes, Wanda carried the fucking movie though. Like, amazing job, amazing performance by her. Incredible. For me personally, I think the movie is a solid 8. Like, I would happily watch it again. Yeah,
I'm with you on
fun.
the 8. I'm with you.
Had
I did
fun.
the rating. I'm with you on the 8.
Yeah, had a lot of fun watching this movie.
That's mostly just to spite Brie.
So,
despite Bray, I'd give it a 9, but no, I'm giving it an 8, to be honest.
So here's my opinion, right? And this is strictly my opinion. I'm not basing none of this based on what Bree said. This is just my opinion, because I see Bree went first, and all y'all had a rebuttal for what she said. This is coming from a true Marvel connoisseur. The goosebumps that I had when I saw Xavier, the goosebumps that I had when I saw Monica Rambeau's mom being Miss Marvel, the goosebumps that I had when they gave us a sneak peek of Mr. Fantastic, even though he ended up being ramen noodles in the middle afterwards. Like, they had the X-Men theme song when he came out with the wheelchair, the yellow wheelchair. That shit meant something to me as a kid when I watched it before I could even afford the comics. It opened the doors to how many universes that we could. Matter of fact, kudos to MCU for having enough money in their bag to come and say, Fox, you don't need them because you ain't doing it right. Bring them over here. They did a phenomenal job letting us know what they're about to do is about to be magic, right? I love Wanda. Apologies. Scarlet Witch definitely came in her true form. I just wish that her motivation wasn't so emotionally connected to her children, which I get it. She's a mother. She's supposed to nurture. But I feel like a lot of female characters, when they come with abilities as big as fucking Scarlet Witch, like, she's a force to be reckoned with. She makes the Dark Phoenix piss in her pants. Like, you can't fuck with, like, anybody who knows Scarlet Witch. If I say this one line, no more mutants, y'all know House of M. Y'all already know how powerful she is. She's the one that could have went down Thanos. She's the one that made that soldier from Wakanda, what's her name? She was like, yo, you could have did all this and you were standing up here the whole time. We know that line. And the fact for her to come out and just be the badass that first of all, the suit was fire. When she came out and she was like, oh, y'all got these little miniature shields and shit. Hold on. I'm about to get the most pussiest dude in here and make him run and break a hole in the barrier. She just ate all of that. She came in looking fly, had the crown. She said, bitches bow down. You know when I knew shit was getting scary? When she went to that cave and she saw a statue of her like she was Jesus.
That's how long it took you?
And then,
I peed my pants a little bit when she go back out of that mirror.
Nah. When the monsters bow down, I was like, oh, Jesus. Oh my God. Like, it was good. I loved it. Doctor Strange. For me, we don't get enough of how self-centered he is to me.
My bad, guys.
So we just don't know, because we all know that, you know, Doctor Strange, he's very, in the comics, he's careless. Like, he does, like, we saw him in Spider-Man, how he sat there and was willing to mess up the whole multiverse because Peter Parker couldn't get into the college with his friends. And he waits to mid-cantation to say, well, did you reapply? Because you can always appeal it. He said, oh, word? And then he decides to kick him out. Like, that was so careless for somebody who has the most miraculous and just all this responsibility when it comes to powers. Like, you mean to tell me you could? I needed more of that, more of the fuck ups, which we got some, but in different universes. So I just love this. This was a perfect introduction of what to come with Marvel, and I'm so ready for it. They could take all my money. I'll be there, you know, with my cheddar cheese and caramel popcorn. Thank you, AMC. It was just a great introduction. I can't wait to see what happens with Wanda. I hope they don't limit her powers because she's a woman. I'm ready to see what MCU does with X-Men. I'm ready for them to cast a proper Storm. She don't got to be light-skinned, please. Anita with some authority, with accents. And please, MCU, if you're casting Storm, do what you did with Scarlet Witch with Storm. I need you to stop thinking that all she does is electricity. This is a witch who controls elements. She is a god. If the next thing I see from Storm is another freaking just turning on electricity and shit with she's not Static Shock. Like, I don't understand why people are just like,
sure?
All right, just
seems like Black Lightning to me.
She's not. She controls all elements. Not only that, she can actually control the water molecules in your body. She can actually make you stop breathing if she wanted to. She could form ice. She could do all types of shit. And what's crazy is she's so powerful and she claustrophobic. That's the shit that kills me. But anyway, that's for another day. But all I want is to see what the possibilities are when it comes to MCU buying to all these characters, because it took them a minute. They were in the standstill for a long time with Fox to get these characters, and the possibilities are endless. The side characters. Oh, I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with Adam Warlock. We already know who's casting him. That's gonna be crazy. I'm just excited. I'll give this a strong 8.5. I'll give it a strong 8.5.
I disagree, but part of what you said really feels like someone agrees with my point, which is both my annoyance and my kind of interest in MCU, that this movie wasn't even really about Doctor Strange. It wasn't about like that asshole who breaks all the rules but still gets away with everything. It is about introducing more of the multiverse. We did it a little bit with No Way Home, and now they're continuing. So even more than No Way Home, I'd say No Way Home was much better than this movie. This movie was a setup. It wasn't a movie in and of itself. Yes. The point of it was to allude and to set up the later movies. Because I agree, when Mr. Xavier rolled himself onto the set, I screamed a little in the theater. I definitely said something. The people next to me gave me a look, and I said, "Back off, bitch. This is important." It's not like there's no redeeming features. The monsters in this movie were very sexy. Points. Wanda was terrifying, and all the horror movies were great. Points. America Chavez.
Roll past that, guys.
Good. Roll past what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said what I said, and I will stand by it. Monster fuckers will thoroughly enjoy Doctor Strange. They have like giant rock golems, great. They have zombie Strange, great. They have like creepy ghosts and ghouls who pretty much gangbang Wanda for a hot second, great. You have Wanda, the baddest bitch, psycho crazy, walking around on shattered glass with barefoot, great. No, if you were into the creepy stuff, this is the movie for you. There is a lot of fan service for certain demographics. It's not without its features. There are plenty of perks to this movie. Ultimately, I felt like some of the downsides detracted from those, but ultimately, it's a setup movie. Like I said before, this is a movie that you really watch so that you're prepared for the later ones. This is a big crux movie. This is, at the end of it, they said, come on, we're going to fix the fissures. What was it called when like the two planes collided and exploded and died?
Incursion?
Incursion! This is introducing the Incursion. So this is such a freaking setup movie, and that gets us into what we are really going to discuss next about MCU. Back in the previous phase, the Iron Mans, the Thors, all the movies and the franchises in them were largely standalone. Like, you can walk into Iron Man without seeing Captain America. You can walk into Captain America without seeing Thor. Some things, seeing the other movies was an added bonus. You got a bit more lore. You understood a bit more. Like, for example, the end of the first Avengers movie.
No,
when
that's
it
not
hinted
true.
at Thanos.
No,
when it hinted at
Thanos. Wait, hold on. You can't make that
Wait, at least let me finish my point before you rebut it.
Wait, because we're doing a Marvel thing. Wait, because I don't want people to be like, that's not true. Real quick, those Captain Americas, those Spider-Mans, those were phase ones. So they were the beginning version, the beginning part of what was to come. So you can't compare that to phase 4. You get what I'm saying? They're never meant to be standalones.
But I think they were. What I'm saying about them is that you could go into one of those and enjoy them as an independent movie. Because they were largely, they did connect, but the fact that it connected was almost an added bonus. Like watching the end of the Avengers movie when it hinted at Thanos, if you're a comic fan, if you knew, you got excited. You know what they were going for. You know it was going for an Infinity War type of situation. So yes, understanding more of the lore in the universe added to your enjoyment, but you could still enjoy those movies plenty on their own. I do not believe you can really enjoy the current Marvel movies independently. And I'm worried that they might do that moving forward. Because I feel like you have to know.
Question. You can't make your opinion. I mean, first of all, first of all, if you're going to introduce the topic, right, you should let all of us say it, and then you come out last and say why you don't think, because you're making points, right? And you already have a head start. So you can start your bullshit.
But I'm laying my bullshit on the table right away, so now y'all can all rebut my bullshit, and then I've got to come back again at the end and say, nah, your rebuttal is a rebuttal. I'm rebutting your rebuttal. There's butts everywhere over here.
Base all that on your bullshit. The thing is that there are some good points, right, that you're making, but this is what happens when you do this shit. Chris and Sexual Chocolate over here is gonna come out and they're gonna focus on what you're saying when there's bigger things on the question. Like,
okay, then go off, Daddy. Go off. What's bigger things? What do you think?
All right, here's the thing. Number one, I still don't agree that you're supposed to. You see, now I have to rebuttal against what you said because you started off with the bullshit. So, see, the thing is that you can't compare those first movies because those were introductions to what was to be to phase 4. Number two, I do find out that it's kind of like to force people, not to force people, but to have them pre-watch all these other shows to get to what Marvel's trying to do. It's all a tactic of money and making sure that you're invested. They got me like One Piece. I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to enjoy the ride. I don't feel like it's a homework. I don't feel like it's a lesson. Maybe because I'm biased, because I'm a comic book fan. But I had a beautiful time watching WandaVision. Low-key was great. All the other stuff that was implemented to prep you for phase 4, they were great journeys and they made sense. Now, if you want to have a standalone movie, maybe you shouldn't be invested in Marvel. But the thing is, the people who come in saying they want standalone movies end up leaving the theater talking about, damn, I need to go watch this because I don't know what went on, but it sure look fire. So it's like they're doing what they're doing. They're making, like, now the MCU is turning fans into comic book readers. Like, I don't know if you noticed this, but they really are invested. Like, the number one graphic novel to get out the shelves in comic book stores was Infinity War. A lot of people don't know that's a 12-issue graphic novel, 12 or 13. And that's not even the first one. They just went and grabbed it just because of how the movie was so impactful. Even though people are going to be disappointed because they never saw Adam Warlock, but they still bought it. So I feel like it's a good strategy. Give me, if it was me, I agree. Like, give me all the coins because they're getting it. Disney Plus, how you doing? I just renewed my yearly subscription because.
So you recognize it's a money grab, but you're still cool with it?
Yeah, because they're giving me what I want. My money's well worth. My money's well paid for. Like, everything is great.
A money grab is not a problem if I'm getting something out of it.
I'm getting all the things. What are you talking about?
You know, the diamond companies having a money grab, that's fucked up because you're selling me a shiny rock that I know is worthless. But MCU is like, no, I'm getting hours upon hours of entertainment out of this. This is fine. Like,
whether if you want to watch it or not, you're still getting it.
Right.
Yeah,
a massive amount of entertainment. A lot of it's good. Even the weaker points are still good compared to other shit that's out.
Yeah. They know what they're doing.
Moon Knight, I think, is super weak. But compared to a lot of the shows, I have my issues with Moon Knight. Mainly just the main character is just a fucking idiot. But compared to a lot of other shows, it is really good. So that's all they have to. They just have to beat the bar. The bar is where it's at, and they just have to keep clearing that. And I'm happy.
I get what you're talking about. The standalone movies, you can walk into it; it'd be its own thing. I personally believe that I get Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, but it's a Doctor Strange movie, and he felt sidelined, and I felt like he kind of earn more than to be kind of sidelined in his own movie because he didn't really have much of like an arc, you know, in terms of, except like maybe like a tiny one. But I still think he kind of deserved his own movie where he was leading and not kind of sidelined, especially since they introduced
movie. That cape is fire. I love that cape.
Yeah, no, the cape is cool too. Yeah, I mean, and the fact that they introduced Cleo, or is it Cleo? Or Cleo at the end, and she pretty much becomes the new sorceress.
Yes.
So that means they're already there in his own movie.
That was Emma Frost, you know, for a minute. I thought that was Emma Frost.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure it's Cleo.
Yeah, it's not her. It's not Emma Frost. It's not her.
But I'm so it's kind of, it just didn't. And Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters, just in terms of reading his comics and then him in the movie.
Okay,
so, but seeing him not kind of, even though it's called Doctor Strange, him being sidelined and not given like an arc, like he's a full actual fleshed out character, did kind of suck. And in the same movie, them introducing the replacement as well, because she becomes the Sorceress Supreme and she's actually stronger than he is. So it's kind of just, he never really kind of got that, not really necessarily a send off, but at least character, a decent character development.
Is a respect thing.
So, and that again, that was just me, and that's kind of why it might have felt the way it felt, because I know the movie had reshoots as well, and who knows what the original would have been. But the fact that he didn't get his own real development as a character after everything that's happened, because No Way Home still happened, so he's dealing with the consequences of that if there were. So now he's just thrust into this.
It really seems like he didn't have any consequences from that one. It was a whoops, but he just kind of dusted off.
The way
he kind of set everything in motion.
The way marketing went for this movie, it felt like the consequences for No Way Home was going to be in this movie, and then this seemed to be more of like you were saying, Chris, this seems to be more of a Wanda
It's a Wanda movie.
Yeah.
We'll be honest on
And
that.
it's just-
Wanda outshone
Yeah.
him
Yeah, it
at every
continues
point
that
in
story.
time.
Which is fine, and they could have done.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
it's fine.
with
But
her
they
as
could have.
well.
They probably should have called it
Wanda and the
Wanda-
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah,
or Scarlet Witch versus
Nah,
Doctor Strange
here's
would have
the
been
thing.
fine.
I feel
I
like
mean, if
Doctor
she wanted kids, she could have just
a
met a
very good role. He wasn't the main focus, but I feel like if it wasn't him, it wouldn't be where it was. Because
It wouldn't
the
be
fact we gotta understand that he's one of very few that has access to go into the multiverse. Like, you know, so it made sense for him to have to introduce the multiverse and what it was capable of, and to be that, you know, persuasion or that enemy or whatever for Wanda to shine. I'm not mad at how it was. I mean, Doctor Strange did what he came to do, and Wanda did what he came to do. The main focus, remember, it wasn't supposed to be a standalone for Doctor Strange. It was always intent to be an introduction of what the multiverse and what the possibilities are and what Marvel MCU was going to introduce into this new chapter of the multiverse, which is the multiverse.
You know,
So
maybe we need to stop thinking about Marvel movies like movies and thinking of more like anime OVAs, where like it's part of the overall series. It's not part of the direct episode to episode, but it's like a special. It's a show special. This is like episode 13 of WandaVision. I don't know how many episodes there are, but it's an additional episode that's part of it. It's not a movie. And I think understanding like that really changes what you can walk in expecting. Because calling it movies is now different when it is necessarily tied to the series. Like, you really want to see it as part of it, or else you're not getting the proper experience. Because I did not finish WandaVision, did not get a proper experience of Multiverse of Madness. So this whole time, I'm still blaming it on Multiverse of Madness. I was like, what a shit movie. I didn't even really understand how this happened to certain characters based on what I know. But maybe instead I need to think of it as like, well, I missed the first 10 episodes. Of course I wouldn't understand episode 11.
Right.
So like, what do you think? Is that now the way it is? For any Marvel movies going out, they're not movies, they're additional episodes. Long episodes, hour and a half, 2 hour episodes. But they're episode specials as part of the series that already exist. Not movies.
Yeah, but I mean, I still see that as a problem because if you want episodes, you have Disney Plus. So, I mean, when I walk into the movie, I should be getting a different experience than watching Disney Plus. Like having how Doctor Strange was with them doing kind of so much and it being introducing this, introducing that. When is it going to be just okay? This is how
this is the movie.
Yeah, this is the movie.
Yeah, it's not about what's coming next or what came before. This is
different things at the same time. So it's kind of just
a little bit.
It just seems kind of just a little sloppy.
I feel like it's not sloppy because they've been doing this forever, and I feel like it should be grandfathered in. For example, if you used to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
no,
I know it's fine. I did, but the thing is, at the end, like towards the end of every season, the show would change drastically because of stuff that happened in the movie, because it was the same universe and it was tied in. And me, who was super lazy back then and hadn't seen the movie, I would just have a very different show for like 6 episodes, where it's like, oh, the Sokovia Accords have happened. What the fuck are those? I have no idea. Yeah, like shit happened in Civil War that I didn't see, and now it's affecting the show. And that's just been for years. So for years they've been doing this. And for years, it's worked for them. So at this point, if you're still rocking with them, like you can't come into Doctor Strange 2 and then just demand, well, no, I should just be able to watch Doctor. That's not how it's ever worked.
Actually, but when you say that, I'm kind of okay with it that way. I'm okay with understanding the show depending on seeing the movie. So that's if I want to watch this episode of shows, invest my hours, all I have to do is quickly go see an hour and a half, 2 hour movie. But I don't like it the other way around, where understanding the movie, you have to see this 10 hour of shows. Because that just feels like there's a greater demand. So what you described, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. changing based on what's happening in the movie that came out, I'm kind of okay with that. Just because of the time investment. In order to understand a 2 hour movie, I need to watch a 2 hour show. Doesn't make sense. But in order to understand this like 10-hour show, I have to first see that 2-hour movie. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but I don't think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really jumped in. I'm so sorry.
Real quick. You remember how we used to say that what MCU's doing is different from the comic books? It's not for people like us that are comic book readers. It's for the masses. So this is what they're doing to the masses. They don't want you to come in and think that you could come in and watch one movie. No, they want you to keep coming back. They want you to feel that you have to feel invested, and they want you to buy the app. They want you to pay monthly, and that's the way it is. Because you know why? They see Netflix, they want a piece of that, and they're getting a piece of that because they're doing it so well. Everything that built up to Infinity War to Endgame took 10 years. 10 years of writing and putting all these characters together, and we did not have a clue. And these are people that read the comics, did not have a clue of where they were going because they went off their own shit. So not only are they turning people that think they can see MCU movies as a standalone, they are making them into investors. They are now watching before they get to the theater, the last 2 episodes of WandaVision before they get into that fucking theater. And that's what they want. It's not meant for people like you that wants to see a standalone just because. No, because you're not coming back. I don't want your measly $20 and the popcorn
that I did come back. I came back all the way through phase 1 happily. Yeah, but what I feel like, it feels like they're alienating us who aren't as invested, who might not have the time, who might not have the energy to finish
those numbers don't lie.
Now it used to be these movies aren't for the comic fans. They're trying to pull in general masses, and now they switch it. It's like now we don't just want general masses. You need to become a comic fan.
They're turning you out.
It's not a matter of being a comic book fan. It's now that you're an MCU fan. Like we have our addicts. Anyone else who shows up, great, but that's not who we're trying to feed anymore. We're just making sure that our addicts get their fix.
And the addicts are bigger than the one-timers that are just coming to see the
like, yeah, you might show up to the movie and go, I ain't catch up on WandaVision, I ain't catch up on Loki, and I don't really know what's happening and not care. But the addicts, like myself, unfortunately, have watched every day. And it's like, well, next. Give me more. And I needed to make sense. I needed to tie in.
I'm letting you know right now. Remember how Netflix was so gangster? They made a documentary of how they took out Blockbuster. I'm waiting for Disney to do the same thing about Netflix. Ever since Netflix said that they were going to take their app and they want to take everything that was Marvel away from Netflix, Netflix doesn't know what to do with themselves. They brought out Yasuke. They was bringing out all types of animated stuff.
We don't talk about Yasuke.
Yo, weirdly enough, this movie was kind of like Yasuke in a sense.
Ever since then, I'm convinced that it's the reason.
Actually, America Chavez and Doctor Strange is just protecting her.
I'm convinced that in MCU, I'm convinced that Disney is the main reason, is one of the biggest reasons that Netflix is where it's at right now with their whole.
Oh yeah.
I'm convinced. So they're doing a great. I'm not even gonna lie to you. If you go on their format, the way they have the layout on their app, they even have the movies in order, the way you should watch it from phase 1 all the way to phase 4. You don't have to Google. You don't have to watch a YouTuber say, hey, before you watch this, what? It's already laid out for you. And there goes your weekend. Like they know what they're doing. People are binging shit. They are. And now people are working from home. Come on.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Then let me ask this. Let me ask this. 1, we know what they're doing. 2, it's definitely for money. So what I want to know is just a quick response. Do you enjoy this model? Because for me personally, it pisses me off enough that after watching Multiverse of Madness, I so badly do want to go back to see WandaVision to see what happened to her between Endgame and now. But I am so pissed that they're forcing me to. Out of spite, I'm not going to watch it.
But again, that's the best part. You can watch it in phases. You could watch the Infinity War saga, call it a day. That's kind of how they set it up.
Because they're just trying to get
with it at a certain point. You can.
They took your money from the moment you went to the theaters.
I know. I'm still paying for Disney Plus. Don't at me.
Wait, hold on.
But the thing is, I am just
Disney Plus, and then you are taking your money.
Unbelievable.
Next question.
It's a whole bundle. Don't judge me.
We're judging.
It's like you won an award to like You get to have a free sandwich every single day, but like you're not going. You don't feel like driving.
Because I'm pissed. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't love this model where it feels too strict, where I can only enjoy it in a certain order in a certain way, or else it pulls my enjoyment. I want it to be more flexible. I'm not happy with it. Yes, I see it's effective. Yes, it's cool how they laid it out, but I don't like how strict it is because I can't enjoy it at my pace when I'm good and ready.
The show came out.
I have to enjoy it at their pace. Not time-wise, but my order as well.
No, you can.
I mean,
just
that
don't
would never
watch
make
it.
sense.
No one told you to watch. First of all, everything has a line. Everything has an order. You don't read One Piece starting on chapter 800. Like, I don't understand that. You could do it.
One Piece is one series. No one said you have to finish Dragon Ball Z before you start One Piece, and that's what they're saying now.
Think of the MCU as one series. It's one continuous story.
Okay, so I'm giving y'all answers. Y'all, if you enjoy this, you like this model of theirs.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's awesome. They got all the funds.
Chris,
And you know
my dear
what?
family, my dear cousin, do you enjoy this? Are you on their side or are you with me?
Of course she's
for the Disney Plus.
Do you
thing
enjoy this model or do you find it to be a problem? As a movie connoisseur, do you like the biggest blockbusters that are coming out right now are part of this giant conglomeration that focuses less on script and more just developing a whole series of universes regardless of the quality? Do you enjoy that?
It's always been this way.
For me personally, it's
Patty, let him talk.
I was invested in the Infinity War saga. For me now, I don't feel the obligation to have to go see Morbius if I don't want to see Morbius. Because for me, the Infinity War saga was just enough. I mean, that came out when I was in middle school. So,
damn.
Yeah, that's how old. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, I mean,
well, it started when we were in middle school. Chris, again, we're the youngest ones here. We have to hide our youth sometimes.
Yeah, but it's so for me, it's I'm still invested, but it's kind of slowly been losing me. And to be honest, the only Disney Plus shows I've watched: Moon Knight, Falcon, Wanda.
I did finish Falcon.
That's pretty much. And I didn't really. Once I found out about Hawkeye and that he wasn't the main character in his own show, I was kind of out. So, but I mean, that's the kind of, and the consequences of that, of not watching the shows, is future projects, future big time movies. I'm losing out, and that's kind of the consequence of it. But of course, if I want to go back and watch it to understand more of what I just watched with the movie, I can't, because that's what having the app's about. So it's kind of like you can do whatever you want. You can see it or not see it, but there's always the consequence of not understanding the movie later, kind of, which is in the boat you're in.
What if I just want to go to a movie and see a movie?
And
you don't have to be an MCU.
Then you shouldn't see a sequel.
Then you shouldn't see an MCU.
Nobody you can go watch Avatar
7 because I don't.
They have the control. They have the money.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6. That's like coming and saying
you can watch John Wick. You can watch John Wick.
Yeah, go watch John Wick. Oh wait,
I'm just saying I appreciate from a business standpoint what MCU is doing, but I am deathly afraid that the entire movie industry will start following this pattern.
I mean, like, right, even if you tried to watch Fantastic Beasts, it's tough without having seen Harry Potter first.
Yeah,
it's
like
really
a lot of the Easter eggs make no sense.
Yeah, it is.
If you know nothing about Harry Potter and you go into Fantastic Beasts, a lot of it is silly.
You cannot catch it.
I would not understand
popping
because
in and out. Like what? Squibs? What are those?
Exactly.
I have no idea.
I hate that you might be right, because again, Harry Potter is the object example where I've seen it all, I've read it all, I know the lore. I've got a Pottermore account.
Yeah, exactly.
I flip off J.K. Rowling every day, happily.
To understand Fantastic Beasts, truly.
At least the first one was good.
But then that makes me more distressed, because there it is. There we have another kind of corporation following the same pattern. And I do not want to see these patterns throughout the movie industry. But we've been focusing solely on Marvel for a minute. Let's spread this out further. Well, let's spread this out further.
Wait, let me just say this. This is nothing new. There've always been sequels. There's always been prequels. We have that. We had Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Like,
but you know it's not so expensive. You know
they don't have Disney money.
It doesn't have anything on the entirety of the
MCU. Better.
No, but that's
different. They don't have Disney money. That's mainly all it is. I
don't see this spread.
Yes,
I'm very clever of them, but I'm worried if it will spread. And that's why I want to spread it out to discuss. Do you think DC is trying to do the same thing?
No, wait. I have a question for Bree. Before we do this.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel that you don't want to see this. Tell me what are the disadvantages of the studio that's producing this? What are they going to lose from doing this?
I wonder if they might alienate new fans coming in. So before you say anything, yes, they do have an established core fan base, but these mega million corporations are trying to draw in new people. The first one did such a great job, or the earlier phase did such a great job because they could still pull in those new people who were coming. They could come, show up to any of the movies, enjoy, and then get invested from there. From now, they cannot pull in new people. If someone's coming to MCU for the first time with Doctor Strange, they're not going to enjoy it. That's not going to pull them in. If they had some other stuff, if they were already watching stuff on Disney Plus, sure. But new fans, or even fans like me who have partial, like, again, I've seen a good amount, more than possibly the common layman who's coming into this, and yet I still walked in and I was confused. If you are confusing large amounts of the audience, you will have trouble attracting new people. So it's not that I don't want to see, it's that I'm coming in and the barrier for understanding is so high that I'm hitting a wall and I can't jump over that. They have made it so that it is difficult for me to see and understand the movie I want to see. And if I'm feeling like that, having, yes, seen most of the previous stuff, caught up on some of the shows, aware of spoilers, because I happily watch spoilers. I know vaguely what happens in these things because I pay attention to this stuff. If I can go in and be confused, other people who are coming in with less preparation, less knowledge, will not be able to understand and enjoy. And that could affect the numbers of increasing viewership.
Okay, let me just say this real quick and then we could just drop it. My thing is, there were implications of what this movie was. It said phase 4. I don't understand why anybody would go into this movie thinking that this was a standalone movie. If you did it out of just pure, I'm going to do whatever I want, these are the consequences. Now, when I asked you, what would the studio lose from doing this? You still made it back to you. I don't think they're going to lose money off of this. The numbers don't lie. The turnout was still great. When I went to the theater, I went on Monday. It was a good house on Monday.
It was packed. I had trouble getting tickets. I can't deny that. Right now, they are riding high. They are the top of the industry. But yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's sustainable unless they can bring in new viewers. It's not sustainable unless you can bring in new people. Right now, they can't. Because like you said, this is phase 4. This is the middle of the ride. You can't just jump on the roller coaster. But unless they can bring in new people, they will not be able to sustain this popularity.
They're getting all the Netflix people.
First off, hold on. They 100% can bring in new people. There will always be people who will be down like, hey, let me start something long. Like, and here we are. Oh, I can just watch all of these and have entertainment for like the next year. Great. New people obtained.
I just don't think anyone is going to walk into Multiverse of Madness having not seen any of the other stuff, nothing on Disney Plus, none of the other movies, and decide based on this movie, yeah, I want to keep watching.
No one's
based off of this
into it as a standalone
specific movie. No one is walking in for the first time and thinking, yeah, I want to get more invested.
That'd be a wild move to walk into a Doctor Strange 2 movie
move,
and think that's the very first. That's the very first MCU movie. It's Doctor Strange 2.
Yo,
you already have homework.
Infinity War before you went to go see Endgame. All right, I'll let that pass because you know the hype. But you literally
that's still wild. You have no idea what's happening.
But you know what? For Endgame, or even going back for Civil War, for Captain America Civil War, I walked into that having not seen Winter Soldier.
But I already told you, those are phase 1s. Those are introductions.
Again, now it's more again, you can start at the introduction, but now they've made it so high that people have to go all the way back in order to get to this point. And that's difficult. Can you at least admit it is difficult watching and catching up on everything?
No, but even with Civil War, you can't walk in to Civil War as your very first MCU movie. You will still be completely lost.
Vaguely, but you don't have to see all of the others. That's what I'm saying. It's not that you can
if you're watching from the beginning.
Hold on, Brie. Even with Doctor Strange 2, you really only need to see Doctor Strange 1 and WandaVision. See, you don't need to see every single thing.
Skip Captain Marvel.
You can literally skip everything else, and you'll be fine.
I don't know why they brought her in there.
That was the lettuce, man.
Your argument doesn't stand.
But even then, yeah, something that would help would also be Spider-Man No Way Home.
It would
Because
help.
the thing is,
but you
I'm
don't
walking
need to
in
see it.
and I don't
You don't need to
know
see
what
it.
I need to see. I don't want to do homework before I go to a
Soldier.
movie.
Don't go to the theater. Don't
Don't go to
nobody-
sequels.
Why
It's
you
not
Daily.
literally about me.
sequels?
I'm just
Why would you go to
I
phase
am trying to
4?
represent a group of people who
I
are
You're the
not as
only
caught
one in
up
this
on
group,
you.
Bree.
Y'all
You're
aren't
the
just
only one
shitting
in
on
this
me.
group.
You're shitting on everyone who is not as caught up on you and saying,
Hold on.
screw you, I
Bray,
don't want to go.
Bray,
You
I
think
will
everyone's
happily
as
shit
you?
on anyone who walks into a sequel movie thinking that
No
they
one
didn't
would
have
do
to do
that.
homework.
You would be
to
upset
watch
if
the
you walked
sequel
in
movie.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and you had
And
no
that's
idea what was going
fine.
on.
Who would do that? Like, I
Hey.
don't get that. I'm gonna just see it because I want to see it.
I'm
Girl,
not telling you I gotta see. I'm just saying the barrier for entry is high. Can you at least agree that the barrier to get into this is high? It is phase 4. You've got phases 1, 2, and
But
3 to
Bray,
get
we-
to before you can
we just-
understand
Then
this.
don't
Hold on,
get
Bray.
into
We just went into that for Doctor Strange 2.
Just give me a yes
You
or no.
have
Is
one-
the barrier
you-
high?
No, I don't think
because
so.
you have one movie and one show. It's not that high. You don't need to watch every single thing for Doctor
No,
Strange.
you didn't. You didn't. All you had to do was watch WandaVision. I finished Loki.
And Doctor Strange 1.
Barely, honestly.
Yeah, really, to be honest. You if you didn't want to see Doctor Strange, the first one, it's fine. If you would have saw WandaVision, you would have been well aware of what was going on. But you can't tell me you go into a movie to see that phase 4 and just be like, oh, I know I'm supposed to go see 1 and 2 and 3, but I didn't want to because I wanted to see
Pat,
a
now you're
standalone
contradicting
movie.
yourself. Is it high or is it easy?
It's easy. It's
Yeah,
easy.
So it is easy. I'm saying I
You're
disagree.
making it
And
difficult
we can
because
just leave
you
it
don't
at that.
wanna
Just
fuck
I
with it.
disagree. I feel like with these new ones, you have to do homework for going. Not even just because like, oh, it's part 2 and there's like Doctor Strange part 1. Knowing about WandaVision would influence it because it didn't bother to introduce any characters. So yes, you have to see WandaVision in order to see this movie.
You can also get the
Absolutely.
Smoke Notes version on YouTube. I'm sure somebody made a
Okay,
compilation
you
of
have
it.
to research and understand, is what I mean. You have to be aware of
agree.
and know what happened in this in order to go
If
see
you're
that.
going to see part 4, yes.
So if
You're
it
gonna
was
see
part
4.
1, yeah, I understand. You have to see Doctor Strange the first in order to see Doctor Strange the second. But the
Yes.
fact that you also have to see this entire series makes it a little different because Wanda's name wasn't even mentioned in the title.
But she's on the cover art.
She's a side character. All I'm saying,
She's in the
at
middle
the end
of
of the day, I'm not going to say anymore. I'm done with rebuttals. Is now you have to do more and more homework in order to watch these things. Not just watch part 1 to see part 2, but you have to understand more that's happening because they do not bother to introduce any characters. They expect you to know everyone who appears on the screen.
I will give you this, that maybe they can be a little bit more clear about what you need to watch before you come in. But that would kind of ruin like secrets and
No, it's been said.
no,
Hey.
they didn't openly say you need to watch WandaVision to come see this movie.
No,
Because I
the
understand.
opening credits, it's insinuated for some of these movies that hey, this is what you need to watch because they give you a quick intro.
Yeah, but
of
opening
who-
credits, I'm already at the theater.
I'm talking about towards the end. So, like saying, if you go towards the end and you
Mhm.
already seeing these previews of who's about to pop up, you're like, oh shit, let me go watch this. Let me go watch this. Listen, if you don't want to, that is totally fine. But you can't expect a chapter 4 to be a standalone movie.
Yes.
You can't just go in. They tell you it's said that it's phase 4. When it was in Comic-Con in San Diego, they were introducing phase 4. You cannot go into this thinking it's a standalone. And if you think watching the series is homework, this show is not for you. And it's okay. MCU is not for you. MCU is for the people that like to invest their time, look at the world building, look at the characters that can stand One Piece, can love One Piece. We sat there, we watched Game of Thrones with that terrible ending. We invested 10 years of that and we sat there and we invested it. There's people that wanted to watch the season finale, but took 2 weeks of no sleep of watching all 5 freaking seasons just to get to that. And they didn't think of it as homework. They were disappointed because they saw the ending like we all did, but they looked at it as a journey. Just like how people are saying how you get into something so long. I don't look at the chapters. I don't look at the numbers. I'm just happy to be aboard. This is a journey. Like I said, if you're going into chapter 4, don't expect to go into chapter 4 not knowing chapter 1, 2, and 3. It's not a standalone. It's never been a standalone. And I'm done.
Like, I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen, you can watch the show before you watch Zero. We've talked about that.
That's true. That's true. But that was a money grab. I think that was a money grab. Jujutsu Zero was.
Well, he comes in. Never mind. I don't ruin it for people. But he comes in later. He comes in later, and he's very much needed.
True.
Okay, so we've mentioned Marvel a lot, but what we still haven't really gone into is DC. Especially because it seems like they're trying to mimic what Marvel is doing.
100%.
I think people mentioned with the Flash movie that's supposed to go into multiverse potential, but that's been super delayed. So the most recent thing we have is the Batman movie, and it was not a Batman like anyone was really expecting.
Nope. But there's also what happened with Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker spinoff that came from that. And that's a whole tied-in universe. You can't watch Peacemaker. It literally picks up right after Suicide Squad too. Yeah. So again, same thing. You have, as Brie would say, homework, which I can actually agree with because going into Suicide Squad 2 after seeing Suicide Squad 1 is a terrifying prospect.
Suicide Squad 2 was way better.
So much better. But
I think
way better.
Part of the issue is that I think we're forgetting that these are comic book heroes. Mm-hmm. The reason comic book lovers love it for what it is because of the fact that it has layers to it. Mm-hmm. The fact that it has arcs, it has chapters, and it has issues where they go into different universes. It's a comic book we're watching in the big screen. It may not be word for word of what we're seeing. They may take out stuff, but that's the way comic books are meant to be read. Especially if you buy a graphic novel, you could buy Infinity War. And then when you read Infinity War, the graphic novel, you see Silver Surfer. You'll go ahead and you see X Factor. You go ahead and see all these different issues implemented in the series because they all tie in together. Just like how you would have to sit there and watch WandaVision before you get to watching the multiverse. All of these characters fit in together in order for what is to come because they all are connected. It plays for a good story. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, it's all about money because it gets me fucking tired when you sit there and you buy a graphic novel, volume 1, and you see volume 3 and there's no volume 2. Are you going to buy volume 3? Yes. Are you going to go to the front desk in Barnes and Nobles and say, hey, bitch, can you pre-order volume 2? You know it's there? Yes. It's all a money grab. Comic books have been like this. Movies are getting into this because they know that this is what we want. This is the longevity of our characters. We get to see them in the big screen with their arcs and see interactions with them with other superheroes that we long to see. Like the amount of people that stood up seeing the introduction of other MCU characters in this was phenomenal. Now with DC, this is the issue I have with DC. Fire everybody that's part of that staff that's doing the movies. And hold on. Everybody that's doing the animated series. Everybody that did Justice League, everybody that did Superman, the Superman movies.
Arkham, bring them in.
Bring them in. Because apparently the breaks are too long. Apparently they don't I feel like they're not fans. I feel like those staffs that you got there, they're money grabbers. At least if you're going to rate me for my money, at least let me feel like this is something that I want and I'm satisfied at the end. You just sitting there talking about, hey, bitch, be happy. What the hell was Justice League? What movie was that?
Yeah, I don't know.
They did it way too early. They didn't even get
it. It was like,
again, they were trying to compete with Avengers.
You just handled Wonder Woman so well. Like you just handled Wonder Woman 1 so well. Like
Wonder Woman was great. Wonder Woman was great.
My number 2.
Maddie too, yo.
The first Wonder Woman. I want to be very clear.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah. The second one was Wonder Woman, amazing. Second Wonder Woman was hot dog water.
That shit was trash. It was doodle. But I feel like when it comes to these comic books, like perfect example Brie brought up before. Walking Dead. Did you bring up Walking Dead? Walking Dead, yeah. You see what they're doing?
Zombies.
I brought it up.
They did.
You need to stop pulling my credit and giving it to Brie.
That's another comic.
Actually, no, I'll take it.
My bad.
Yeah, that was me.
Sorry. That was another comic book series that did very well.
And
but
it
what they
ended.
did to and it ended. And this one needs to end too. I'm tired. This is y'all just beating the dead horse. But listen, whatever they're doing well. We saw Invincible. We loved Invincible. We loved Invincible. Robert Kirkman, I'm gonna tell you right now, pay that man what you owe. This lawsuit is ridiculous. If you promise him something, like the lawsuit is crazy.
Was I the only one that thought that when Wanda was killing all the alternate universe people, that looked like the first episode of Invincible? She just like started blowing up the head.
Yeah, a little.
That was my first thought. When Homie Without the Mouth blew up his own brain, I laughed so hard in that theater.
Yo.
Again, people
Yet
were looking
somehow
at me.
you couldn't watch Invincible.
When
No, I could
Shorty
not. Or
said
the boys.
what mouth? When
Boys
Shorty said
amazing.
what mouth?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Carried
When
that
he
movie.
snapped his neck, I was
No,
like,
Chris,
oh,
you were right. That wasn't
you
Doctor
just
Strange.
snapped
This was a Wanda movie.
Yeah.
Of course it was, and that's why I was upset. It's like, don't say Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and have him as a side character just hanging out, seeing
I think a little
Christine
bit,
every time.
I think a little bit is they really wanted that moment in the orchard, and they wanted that to hit, and it did. Like, I feel like if you went in blind, and then that moment happens where she like just
I
turns it
was
into a
wondering what the
wasteland,
actual hell.
that
I
is
did
like
not know
that's
she was
the
evil.
movie. Yeah. Like even if you knew she was evil, like I went in knowing she was kind of like already broken, but I didn't know. I thought she was gonna be like helping Doctor Strange and would break down the line, and then like, oh no, she's already batshit crazy, turned into the wasteland. Oh, okay, let's go.
Again, I say it again. I rate that movie low, like maybe a 4 or a 5. But every scene with her, I'll shoot that right up to a 9. Every time she appeared, it's just everything with Christine dropped it so down. But Wanda herself, psycho, wonderful, creepy as heck. I'd never seen a horror Maru movie.
I want to see more of her. Hopefully, they can implement. They implement a little bit of
They
House
killed
of
her
M.
off though.
No, she's not dead.
She dead.
There's
No,
so
she's
many
cool.
of her,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
Multiverse.
Multiverse. Yeah.
No. There's not a lot. I don't think there's a lot of Scarlet Witch. I think she was the only Scarlet Witch, if I'm not mistaken. There's Wanda's, but there's not Scarlet Witch. I think there's only one.
No, I think there's multiple because like all the universes knew about Scarlet Witch. So
What universe knew about Scarlet Witch? They knew about the
Literally-
prophecy, but that's because they were witches and they had the book.
maybe.
I think there's only one. From what I've read, I think there's only one Scarlet Witch. I don't think there's multiple Wandas, but I think there's only one Scarlet Witch. And this is a badass. I don't think she could die like that. I don't think
they can't just keep dropping rocks on like super powered women and thinking that'll work.
You can't do that.
That was nonsense.
I did talk to you about that. It was the same thing with like she has the power, but it's like with Doctor Strange, like you could snipe Doctor Strange and he would still die because his body is, he's not like an invincible person. He has magic, but I don't know if he has like a 24/7 thing going. But he's still technically a regular dude. He just uses magic.
Yeah, but
Wanda's a different thing.
Wanda is. We still don't make sense of Wanda. There's a lot of things in the internet that says that she's not even a mutant. She's just a witch, or she's just a being. Like they cannot. Even the writers that wrote her, they wrote her specifically for you to be like, who the fuck is this bitch? Like you don't know what class she's in. You just know she could fuck up everything. Everything. House of M was a beautiful series. If you guys get invested to it, please read it. It's Wanda batshit crazy. Batshit. A preschool teacher you saw on Multiverse. If you read House of M, it's crazy. But
to go back into Marvel.
Yeah, right.
Go back for the future for
we
the
talk about.
But to go back to the future of comic book series and comic book shows, here's the thing. I want to shout out Netflix because they definitely did Daredevil, Punisher. All those were great series. What they did was they took out side characters from comic book stories that people weren't really checking for, because people who are coming into this, Superman, Batman, Storm or Hulk and stuff like that. But what Netflix did that was very nice, they took characters that people weren't really checking for, and they were fairly cheap. Nobody's going to fight me to have Daredevil, and they made them immaculate.
Yeah.
Until this day, I will sit down and listen to him anytime when he says, you know, when I was a boy, tell me what happened when you was a boy. I'm ready to hear all of it. And I love what they're doing with it.
Yeah, they
like in the
villains.
Hulu, I think Hulu did what was Legion? Legion was Fox. Legion was another comic book. A lot of people don't know this, but Legion is actually Xavier's son. But they made a whole series and they never based the fact that he was Xavier's son, but it was still a good show. So I just need DC to actually incorporate having good writers. I'm talking about fans who know the ins and outs of these heroes. And
well, it seems like they did for Batman. Because that wasn't like the Batman we were used to having. That was the new version. Because that's what I always heard the most. Because I haven't seen it, I don't know much, but I heard this Batman finally goes back not to like the punch him hard martial arts training Batman, but back to detective Batman.
He looked malnourished. He looked
and that was the core of this one.
Every time he came on the screen, I just wanted to give him a spoon of something to eat. I was very disappointed with Twilight Batman. I wanted him to have, like, you can't be a playboy philanthropist and be a billionaire and still look like you don't give a fuck. Like, he looked like he didn't wash. His hair was always sticky. Like, I was like, bro, you got all this. How come Alfred look better than you? Why Alfred look better? Alfred look like he get the buns religiously. You look like you still stressed. Like,
but remember, it is an earlier Batman.
It is an earlier. That's even worse.
It was an early Batman.
Listen, he was a hoe.
Anytime in the comics,
Bruce Wayne was a hoe.
Like, there, you had Batman Year 1, Batman Year 2. This was Batman Year 2. I'm sorry, was it year? I think it was Year 2. This was Batman.
The animated movie for Batman Year 1 was amazing.
Yeah, well, there was comics as well, but I mean, this movie was more of, because like with Justice League, you had just Batman, and that was him. Okay, he's been Batman for a couple of years now. He knows how to be Bruce Wayne. He knows how to be Batman. But this one was mainly just a story about Batman, because it's literally just called Batman. Which is why you barely saw Bruce Wayne, which is him actually going out,
taking
about business. Yeah, taking out business.
The basic.
The Batman was the Batman was his main personality in this movie. So you're seeing him learn, which was why he was behind the curve with a lot of things, like figuring out the puzzles and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's
came out pretty well. I love the Riddler. I think he was so dope. I love the concept that he had. It was just, it was perfect. It was perfect. The only issue that I have was that I didn't believe him as Batman. I didn't want. That's not my Batman. That is not my Batman. He did a terrible job. He just looked frail. He didn't look like he wanted to protect Gotham. He just looked like he just wanted to figure out, like, his own personal shit, which is fine. But
yeah, man, he's vengeance. He was all about where he just wanted to beat people. That was the point towards the end of the movie, where he's like, I have to be better for Gotham. Because remember, he was still mad over the fact that everything that happened to him. So he was just,
I can't.
Yeah, he wanted to fight. He wanted to beat people up.
I'm sorry. You're a millionaire, a billionaire. I'm sorry. I really can't. I never was a big Batman fan. The only Batman I did like was Michael Keaton. God bless him, because he's a real Batman to me. I love Jack Nicholson. I love Heath Ledger. I love the trilogy that we had. That was good. But when it came to Batman, to me, he just looked like a white supremacist. You got all that money. All that money. You could do whatever you want. You decide, no, let me fight crime personally. Fuck hunger. Fuck taxes. Let me fight crime personally. Doorstep by doorstep. I just felt like that was like some bullshit to do, man. You got potential. There's even a comic book series, like one issue where what's his name? The butler. Alfred sat there, was drunk one night, and Batman came home, and Alfred was like, you know what, nigga, you ain't shit. You got all this money. There's so many orphanages you could probably save. There's so much funds that you could put into hospitals, new experiments, all this shit in medicine, and you decide to do a man cave downstairs, wear some tights and go downstairs and fuck a crime fighter one by one. What's wrong with you? Your parents didn't die for this. He literally takes the time within 5 pages talking shit to him with whiskey. I was like, that's some good whiskey. I want to know. But I never been a Batman fan. I never been a Batman fan. Never liked him. I felt like he wasn't doing it for justice. All this was for him. He needed some form of control. All this is a fetish that he has. It was never something that he did for Gotham. Because Gotham never changed. Gotham was always Gotham. Gotham was always a piece of shit. But whatever you're doing, and you've been doing it for years, and it's still the same. It's still the same, bro. You ain't changed nothing. And all the money you got, you could have got better headlights, better lights outside for people to see where they're going. Make sure there's more police and more security. Make sure people got funding. Like, this is just it's just like, I'm like, bruh, this is sick.
I think you're overanalyzing, but I
no, everybody's that likes DC.
With the times that we live in, Batman is starting to feel a little like iffy, where it's like, you could actually fix shit, and you're just choosing not to. Really,
Superman got an excuse. He ain't got bread like that.
No, he doesn't really have much money.
Nah, he don't really have bread like that. He got you. We see him walking around with the same drawers all the time. It's fine as long as he's able to wash it and put it right back on. He goes from he does the best he can with the superpowers he got, but you got financial privilege to do a lot of things, and you decide, you know what? Let me just make a cave and do this. Anyway,
at least the Punisher makes more sense than Batman.
I love the Punisher. He always makes sense.
He was like, yeah, I'm just going to actually end them. I'm like, well, yeah, that's fair.
They keep coming back because the DAs sit there and Punisher, that speech he made to Daredevil, nigga, fuck you. You gotta kill him.
Like, yeah. Oh my God. When I finish them, they don't come back.
They don't come back. Crazy. And you a lawyer too? Kiss the blackest part of my ass. I was just like, what?
I feel like at the end of the day, y'all just like Marvel more. Which is fair. I am traumatized from pretty much any DC movies because Aquaman was so freaking bad. And I saw Aquaman the same night I saw Into the Spider-Verse. Like, I saw them back to back. I saw Into the Spider-Verse first. They're like, okay, next superhero. Let's check out. Let's check out Aquaman. And yo, my heart broke. How dare they? I can't trust DC again.
Well, they need to do better. Like, why would you have Depp's ex-wife on that shit? Like, the fact that you have her on part 2, I don't know.
Was her?
Yeah, no, that's a wild decision they're making.
Yeah, the fact that you don't care. Johnny Depp's ex-wife is an Aquaman. Right.
Yeah.
And after all the allegations and what's been going on, they still said we are going to have her in part 2. But they just recently dropped her after the whole thing with the cases, like as more shit is coming to light. And okay, it looks like she might lose. We might have to drop her. But
I never get another Pirates of the Caribbean either.
No,
we've had enough Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, I don't really think we did.
Corrected. Disney, you know what to do. Get like 10 more Johnny Depp movies. Let's get it going.
I don't know, but for me, DC it's confusing now because they're using the Flash to wipe out the Snyderverse, which I thought the Snyderverse was decent, especially with Zack Snyder's Justice League versus the regular Justice League. So. And then you have the Batman. So you're kind of just, I'm not sure which one they're going to make their main stage on. Because, like, I don't know. Based on tones, the Batman versus the Suicide Squad don't really feel like they're within the same.
No.
So I kind of feel like the Batman storyline will probably be its own separate thing. And then you have the main Justice League timeline. And unless the Flash kind of, since they're doing Flashpoint, they're probably going to do all completely 180, 360 or whatever, and completely change it completely. So
DC doesn't know what they're doing at all.
I just don't know where they stand yet. So they're still
from what I've heard, they need to hire like a new Flash.
What do they do the comedic ones?
I mean,
Because they're and Shazam, which are both like a comedic tone, which feels like it shouldn't be the same
I
universe
don't
as the
think Black
Batman.
Adam is going to be like a comedy.
Yeah, we always
Yeah.
Based on the Black Adam that I've seen. So,
But if
I
you
don't
guys
know.
haven't noticed, DC has been dropping titles like crazy. Like their series, you'll be lucky if you get 2 seasons. They're dropping. I think they dropped Catwoman. They dropped. I think on my TikTok they dropped like 2, 3 titles that they're not doing anymore because they quote, I think, the numbers. So this is still new to them because they came in, like Chris said, they came in rushing because they saw MCU as their competitors. This is what DC needs to do. I'm giving them free game right now. What you should do is start from scratch, right? Start from scratch. Don't worry about what MCU is doing. If you pick the right characters and the right storyline, we will come. This is DC. Look what happened to Watchmen on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
1 season.
Regina King is amazing. Like the way they did that, bless you. The way they did that was crazy. All you need to do is get the right writers, the right characters, start from scratch, build up your arcs. We will come.
Yep.
We will come.
Right,
Don't worry about it.
No, I think one
Make
more
good
thing
content.
is, one more thing is like, when you're done with this storyline, it's okay to just end it for now. Like you don't need 10 seasons of Arrow. Like the Arrowverse was great. Stop it 2 if you only have enough for 2.
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't count that as DC. But I think that's what they're going to do with the Flash. I think they're using Flashpoint as a way to reset everything, wipe the whole thing clean, and then from there, at least that's what I would do. Essentially, since they're pushing it a whole to next summer or something like that. So they're pushing it again because of other things, but
they have so much potential. It's still DC.
Yeah, but
DC
Flash is Doctor Strange is the Flash of the DC universe. Like, so they want to redo something, Doctor Strange and Marvel, they're going to do something Flash. So that's kind of their main character they go to. They want to say, all right, let's do a new timeline. Yeah, that's pretty much what their main role is.
And that's why I got the title, like the Isekai of the multiverse.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're doing. Yeah, that's basically. Listen, what the multiverse thing is. Let me just say this: when I first got into comics and I was first introduced with the multiverse, I didn't start off with X-Men. I started off with Age of Apocalypse. That's when I was introduced with the different universes, right? When I started reading that, I was like, this shit is so confusing. But guess what? I have to buy 5 separate volumes.
Hattie, you just said 4.
You can rent them.
Oh, 5. Sorry, 5. I had to buy 5. But this is back in the day. So we didn't have digital shit. This is when you had to buy physical copies. And after the physical copies were released, you have to wait a year later to get the graphic novel. Because not all of them, these were loose individual issues. So when I got invested in this, I was just like, yo, this is so smart because you have to buy these other issues in order for you to get in tune and to stay in track. I don't have the money, so I'm going to drop it here. I don't. So, I mean, it's been a comic book thing for years. The fact that they implement it into the movies, it's fun because I don't have to really spend that much. It's just, I don't have to go to a treasure hunt to go to a comic book store, because back in the day you would have to call the comic book store and hopefully the nigga will hold it for you, because if that's the new release for that week, you'll be lucky if you get 1 issue. So like I like what it's doing. I like the fact that it's so vast, and I like the fact that the accessibility is right there for me. So as long as DC does it right, because we saw what Invincible did, we saw what Image did with Walking Dead. Not the best decision towards the end. I think they should have stopped at season 7.
I mean, we see how The Boys is going.
The Boys is good. The Boys was great. That was a comic book first. That was great.
Definitely check out the comic.
It was definitely great. The comic is great. Dark as hell. If you got a light stomach, do not. If you feel like Brie, do not watch it. Do not read it. It's when I tell you it's dark.
Watch the first episode of season 1. That will pretty much set the tone.
Nah, that was
can't take it. Move
it
on.
was set the tone, but it was like Sesame Street if you read the first, compared to the first graphic novel, the first issue of The Boys.
Oh, y'all talking about the oh yeah, no, no.
Yeah, it was harsh. It was harsh. We had
It's like the first 10 seconds.
and that was an animated series. Invincible was so impactful, even though it wasn't meant for kids. People watched it like it was a real show, not an animated not an animated series. And that was amazing. DC and Marvel has all the potential in the world. Marvel's doing it. Let's leave them alone. DC has all the potential in the world. They have all the ammo, everything. They just need to know what the fuck they're doing with it. And you know what? What's so crazy? They could fuck up this universe, right? For this series, we're still gonna come back. We're gonna talk shit. But there's people that's still gonna come back and be like, let me see what they're gonna do with this Batman. Let me see what they're gonna do with this. Because DC has been around for so long. DC is out. I think DC came out first before Marvel. So a lot of people resonate with DC and they know the foundation that they've been here for years. Detective Comics, they've been here for years. I know this because when I went to Fan Expo, they tested me on this and I lost the question. I lost the answer. I was the shit that was giving me the win. And I found out the right answer.
No, she did so terribly, but I don't even blame her. I knew like maybe two of the answers.
What is Batman's favorite dish?
No one knew that.
Justice.
I said justice. I said
Served
justice.
cold.
And then
you would think, bro,
and then I thought I was gonna win, but it was like no.
Some kind of soup that I've forgotten already.
Listen, all I know is that DC, they could fuck up regardless. We're done. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. We are. That's the type of people we are. We're gonna come back.
Especially for their animated series. But y'all, we're so over time. It's time. It's time to cut it. We said what needs to be said like 5 times over.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot going on, and all we can do is really sit back and see what DC is going to do next and what Marvel's going to do.
We know what Marvel.
I do want to make a shout out.
Money.
I want to say I love AMC stubs. It is amazing.
They're not paying you yet. Slow down.
I know, but
get the
that's how good it is. That's how amazing AMC stubs is.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Chris, for being a special guest of the show.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course, it was a pleasure. Anybody that's against free is definitely gonna be nuts. But guys, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Spotify. Don't forget to email us on blackramen@gmail.com with your questions. And don't forget to watch our merch, buy our merch. We need money. Patreon too. Later. Peace.